this is actually how we sober the mind up. We develop this clear awareness, awareness of the present moment, this clarity in the present moment, this skill with dealing with life and life's problems. And I always suggest to people to not only consider your own death, but to consider the death of those around you. Not in a death wish. That's not what we're doing. It's the idea of, well, if that person was to die today, how would I look at them? How would I look at them? And I assure you, you'll look at them totally differently. Because what it does is it brings forth compassion. It brings forth empathy. If we know that if this person was to die, would we be so critical? Would we be so judgmental? Would we treat them differently? And I'm sure we all would. You notice when we hear that someone has passed away, our mind is moved by compassion and empathy and sympathy. We want to help. Our heart goes out to the relatives and friends. And so if we look around the people around us, then it will make us much more skillful in the way we deal with those people. We'll care for the people we're with. And that's also a very important form of meditation. So the Buddha said that there's 4 things that we should reflect on every day if we want to develop wisdom. The first thing is that I am of the nature to age. That overcomes the pride of youth, because we see that this is a process that will happen. It will happen. I am of the nature to be sick, to get sick. That overcomes the pride of health, because it will happen. It's the nature of a body. I am of the nature. We're saying this is a fact. This body is of the nature to die. That is something to reflect on, to contemplate, to consider, not with fear, not seeing it as a taboo, but to look, oh, yes, what happens? And then to also see that we are the owners of our karma. We own our actions. What we sow, we reap. We are heirs to our actions. Our abide here and now is supported by how we act here and now. We're related to our actions. Whatever actions we do, of that we'll receive the results. So we become very skillful in how we act with body, speech and mind. So these are the 4 reflections, to reflect wisely every day, so that it leads to a clear, sober understanding of truth as it is. And because of this, then we actually then will live this life more skillfully, but also at the time of our own passing, then there'll be no fear. And certainly if a person has led a good life, then that's one of the direct benefits, that they die unconfused, because they know they're going to go on a good way. Many years ago I had a near-death experience myself, and it was actually very interesting because I saw the process of how that happens. I was sick at the time and staying with 2 Thai monks who were very good friends of mine, and we happened to be living in a cremation ground, a cemetery, and we'd travelled to this area, and we got to the rains retreat, and we were spending the rains retreat there. And there was a few simple huts built by the villagers there. And one day I wasn't feeling well, so my Thai friend decided that he'd make some herbal medicine for me. And he said this cured him, so it will cure me. And not very scientific, but it was coming from the right place. and so out of kind of just being polite to him, I took this medicine, and I had an immediate reaction to it. I've never had that allergic reaction to medicines before, but I started to feel faint, and I walked back to my hut, which was only about from here to the reception area away, and I collapsed in the room there, and then started hyperventilating and going into shock. And it was a very interesting experience, because what happened was I saw the habits of mind come in. The mind immediately clicked into meditation, even though the body was going into shock and was shaking, and the legs were thrashing about. The mind went very still. I had a vision of two monks who I'm very close to, meditation teachers who I know very well. One of them will be visiting here in a couple of weeks' time, because I'd spent a lot of time under these teachers. A vision of them came, and then I knew that if I died now, I'm going to go in a good way. So I just stayed mindfully aware of the mind and just watched what happened. I couldn't move my arms, open my eyes, couldn't speak, but my hearing was still operating. And I remember the two monks came over, Tan At and Tan Zombun, came over, and they saw me on the ground in shock, and they started massaging me, and they took this tiger balm, which all Thai monks always have at the ready. It's a universal cure for everything. So I don't know whether he put that in the medicine I drank, but they started shoving this tiger balm up my nose and rubbing it on every imaginable part of the body. So, you know, it was cold and hot all over, and I could still hear them speak. And one of them was saying, "Oh, we'll have to go into the village and try and get a vehicle." And then Tan Zombun, my mind started to let go of the world, and it went down a very peaceful, bright, single point of light, just like in meditation, in mindfulness meditation of samatha. And at that point, my hearing was just about to switch off when I heard him say, it was like a long distance away, like I just heard this gentle voice saying, "If he dies, I'll never forgive myself." And I just heard this, and then my mind was moved with compassion, that I didn't want him to feel sorry that he did me in. And then the mind just shifted and started pulling out. Just slowly started coming back because of my feeling for my friend. And then over a long period of time, it took about another hour and a half, 2 hours, I could finally open my eyes. By that time I was really covered in tiger balm. Probably wish I did die as well. It was actually a very interesting sort of seeing the process. But the most important thing that I saw was actually that you get what you reap. You sow the good conditions, the good causes, you know how to deal with the mind, you've got nothing to worry about. It will just happen by itself. All those good things you've done, all those good states of mind, just come up. And you just let go, get out of the way, and then you go according to your good actions. And so I will end the talk right here, I'll bring this talk to an end. But before I do, I thought, well, it seems it's been such a heavy talk on death, that I would end with a lovely joke that I've heard just recently, and not to be outdone by Ajahn Brahma, who's on retreat, and I'm sure you're desperately missing him. I thought I'd tell you this joke. I was hoping that someone would go asleep at the end of, at the back of the hall, because it would become meaningful for the joke. But there was a minister of religion, and he died, and he went up to heaven, and he got to the pearly gates. And he'd been teaching religion for 45 years, many disciples, spreading the word. Got to the pearly gates, and there was this fellow leaning against the pearly gates in a leather jacket, and tattoos all over him, sort of slick back hair, really rough-looking character. And he was slouching against the pearly gates. And he said, "Oh, who are you?" And he said, "Oh, my name's Sam McCarthy. I'm a taxi driver from New York." And anyway, St. Peter opened the pearly gates, and they go over to the big book of deeds, and they look through the deeds, and he says, "Who are you?" And he says, "Oh, I'm Sam McCarthy, taxi driver from New York." And St. Peter says, "Very good, very good, very good. You've done very well. Your palace is waiting for you over there. Here's a golden robe, and we have the trumpeters ready to welcome you." And so the taxi driver is very happy, and he wanders off. And then he says, "Who are you?" And he says, "My name's Ian Smith, Reverend Ian Smith. I've been spreading the word on earth for 45 long years. So what is my reward?" And St. Peter looks through the book and says, "Very good, yes. Yes, your bungalow is over there. Here's your bronze robe, and there's one trumpeter waiting for you." And he said, "What do you mean? The taxi driver from New York, he got a palace. He got many trumpeters. He got a golden robe. I've been teaching God's word on earth for 45 long years, and I get a bungalow." And St. Peter says, "Well, look, there's been a policy change here at the moment. We're going by deeds, by results these days. And what we've noticed is every time you gave a sermon over those 45 years, everyone fell asleep. But whenever someone got into that fellow's taxi, they prayed to God."